Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Keeping It Real. I'm David Grossman. I'm very pleased to have with us today in the studio Harry Stinson. Harry, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it very much. I'll tell you a little bit about Harry. Many of you have probably heard the name. He's known for his work on the Candy Factory. Toronto Life said he was one of the 10 most important events in Toronto's history, the Candy Factory.
Quite unusual for a condo.
Yeah, well, I guess it set off quite a trend. Inspiration for the explosive growth of Toronto's downtown residential condominium lifestyle, the Knitting Mill, the Victorian, Grangetown, Graphic Arts Building, Park Lofts, King West Sapphire Tower, and now Hamilton Grand, Hotel Niagara, and Stinson School Loft. So I must say that from looking up on the projects, I have a soft spot for the Stinson School Lofts. I think they're really awesome.
Karma.
Yes, wasn't it? Because
it's not an ego trip. And people think, oh, Stinson School, yeah, well, you're thinking you're Donald Trump
right,
now. No.
Right, you're renaming the school.
There actually is a street in Hamilton called Stinson Street, and there is a school on it called the Stinson School, and it was developed by Ebenezer Stinson in the 1830s. So believe it or not, this existed, and I was actually contacted by an architect in Hamilton, come down and take a look at this, and the current mayor of Hamilton, Bob Bertina, who was a councillor at the time, said, we're going to sell the Stinson School. I thought they were pulling my leg.
Right.
And it is an 1894 school. It's a massive old castle. I bought it from the school board, and we're converting it into residential lofts. We bought the entire block, an acre and a half of land, for the price of a two-bedroom condo in Toronto.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It really is.
It's a lovely looking building. I mean, you know.
It looks like the Ontario Legislature. It has that same red sandstone grandeur to it.
Right, yeah, maple floors. I mean, you're taking the old classrooms.
Classrooms are perfect loft size. It's got the high ceilings, the big windows, the maple floor. It's perfect loft. You couldn't design it better.
Tell us a little bit about your career. I mean, you've had a varied career.
It's a masochistic one, to be sure. I started off in the restaurant business in the late 60s. I opened a little restaurant
You were 18 years old?
Yeah, the Groning Board restaurant.
Right.
It was the first healthy food restaurant in Toronto. And it was the first non-smoking restaurant. Of course, I was told by the experts and the bankers that I was a complete idiot because, of course, the majority of the population smoked. 65% of the population smoked, so Stinson, you are a nut to open a restaurant. And I figured, well, all right, so there's 35% of the population who don't have a place they want to go and eat.
Right.
I figured that was an okay niche for one restaurant.
Yes.
So the Groning Board was surprisingly successful. It lasted 25 years.
Right now, that's I was reading up on it because I remember many years ago, a friend took me to this restaurant. We were watching commercials. It must have been
the world's best commercials.
I didn't remember the name.
My father was the Canadian judge at the Cannes Film Festival of Commercials. There is a film festival of commercials.
Yes.
So he brought back the reel every year. So we just played them in the restaurant. And they were hilarious.
Right. Now that happened by accident.
By accident.
Because a band didn't show.
Band didn't show. So we figured we own these commercials. We'll just run them, and they're funny.
Yes, they were great. It was everyone must have started talking about it because you don't go to a restaurant to watch commercials.
And we were a licensed restaurant, so you could have a bottle of wine and watch them. You know, Cineplex just started doing this a few years ago. It was revolutionary to serve drinks in the theater. Well, we were doing it in the 70s.
Right, right. Incredible.
And there was I migrated into real estate. The Candy Factory came as a result of. Well, it's a result of a lot of things that I've gone through over the years, but it's the same thing, noticing a niche. I was a real estate broker. I still am a real estate broker. And I had clients saying, you know, we've got money, and we'd like to get out of the house. Kids are gone, don't want to mow the lawn, and so on. So we're looking for a condo, but it can't be boring. You know, it's not like we're not poor or old. We've got the money, but it has to be worth us buying. So I was schlepping them around, showing them condos and burning a lot of gas. And they would say, you know, Stinson, we appreciate all your time, but you're not showing us anything we want to buy.
Right, right.
So I figured, well, okay, let's build something interesting. And that became the Candy Factory.
It was described as Manhattan-esque. Did you get the idea from New York, or how did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, because people watch the movies and then they know that these types of unusual lifestyles existed. But Toronto in the late 80s. I think a Flashdance
way back. Right?
In the 80s, we did not have. You go through Toronto now and you think it is the largest condo market in the world, Toronto. But in the 80s, it was not. So I was trying to find a product for my customers. I went to the development industry, and their reaction was, why? You know, we're building this normal stuff, people
Sure.
buy it.
Yeah.
You know, why, you know,
If it
it's
ain't
easy.
broke, yeah.
Sure, what the heck. And so then we came to 89, the market tanked. And so I went back to the same developers and said, well, okay, so you need an idea now, right? And they said, no, we're in receivership, kid. We're not building anything. So being the little entrepreneur, I figured, okay, I'll become a developer, which showed how much I knew about the development business. And started
Probably
with
better
Candy
you didn't. but
Started
okay.
because if I knew,
Right.
if I knew how exhausting it is and how difficult it is to make it as a developer,
Right.
especially with a different product,
Right,
because it is all about financing,
right,
and bankers do not like different.
right. But you had the vision.
Had the
and-
vision.
And you started an amazing trend.
Well, the customers bought into it, and then the market followed. So by the time the candy factory opened in the late 90s, Queen West just changed, and downtown changed.
Yes.
And it sort of led to a lot of things, and it was viewed with interest by the industry, but sort of skepticism, like they were pushing me out on the ice to see, you know, if it breaks,
Right.
it's a good thing we didn't go.
Right. And then how did you get into the condo hotel thing? I mean, that's a whole new trend as well.
Well, it seemed it's not actually that new in a way, because if you look back in history, 100 years ago, it was very common for people to live in a hotel downtown, in whether Manhattan or in any major city. To live in a hotel was not an uncommon thing, and it is actually a nice lifestyle. And One King, a very tall, skinny building.
Yes,
The slenderest building in the world, actually.
right.
And the units were small and affordable. And you know, being single at the time, I mean, people living downtown do not need a big house. They don't want a big house. They just want a place they can sleep, keep their belongings, have an address. And One King started that concept. So it literally is this synergistic condo hotel. But to everybody's, well, not my surprise, but to some people's surprise, the hotel aspect turned out to be a huge success. So people own their suite, they put it in a rental pool, and they share in it's basically a co-op hotel.
Okay, now I have to tell you though, people are coming to me for a mortgage on Trump, because I'm also a mortgage broker, and I couldn't get...
No, because the numbers don't work.
I can't get anything. Nobody wants to loan any money on this. It's 700 square feet, and it's selling for just over $1 million.
Yes, because the numbers don't work.
Right.
So, for example, I'm doing a project in Hamilton now called the Hamilton Grand. It's a little condo hotel. It's not Toronto.
Right.
The suites are $99,900.
$100,000 for how many
furnishing
square
included.
feet?
Well, it's small. It's a studio apartment
Okay.
or a one
Still,
bedroom.
it's 600, 700.
But our price point in the whole building goes from $99,000 to $199,000. So basically 100 to 200,000 fully furnished suites.
Right.
Those numbers work.
And we can look at some pictures of those too. This is the Hamilton Grand. We're going to roll a few photos of these. Close to the GO station, farmers market. I started doing a
dead
little
center
bit of
downtown.
research
It's
on
essentially-
Hamilton. You know, on one of the websites. Why Hamilton? It looks pretty.
Because
pretty
Hamilton is actually a much larger city than people think. Oh, it's that little steel town down the road. Nobody works there anyways. The irony is that the employment in Hamilton is higher. The employment rate in Hamilton is higher.
Right.
The incomes are higher. It's a university and medical town. But the development industry has just bypassed it because it has this image of being somewhere in the last century.
Right.
There are 1 million people in the greater
There's a
Hamilton
nice
area.
harbor front too.
It actually is quite a dynamic place, and there's absolutely no modern condo lifestyle options in Hamilton.
Right.
So this is specifically targeted at the universities and hospitals, only 130 suites. At that price point, we lease them out for $13.95 a month.
Are they all hotel units?
It's a rental pool. You cannot live in it.
Okay, so
It is
you
an
don't live
investment.
in it. You're
You
buying
don't
it
buy it.
strictly as. And I saw
totally an
somewhere
investment.
you're talking about 15%. I mean, the numbers we had here are a little bit hard to see on the screen, but
Yeah,
you're talking about 15% return on.
We do actually the best way we do this is with little meetings of people one-on-one, so we can explain it
Okay.
directly. But they make a return because the capital cost is low. When you're in at $100,000, $150,000, you're not carrying this $1 million mortgage.
Right.
And you're not carrying $700 condo fees and $8,000 taxes or anything like that. Your total carrying cost per month is $1,300, $1,400.
Right, and
Total.
are these mortgageable, or you just buy them cash?
You know,
or-
the irony is that people are paying, they figured in Toronto, this would be my deposit.
No kidding.
I can pay all cash for this, have no stress.
Right.
So they can do it on a credit line. They can do it, very
Sure.
simply because the price point is low.
Yes.
And that's critical to real estate. If you can't carry, if this thing is going to just bleed you dry and you're desperately hoping that the market will forever keep going up and up and up, that's not a good investment. I started working in Hamilton because the numbers make sense.
Right. So What percent sold are you on the Hamilton?
In fact, we're
Grand?
just starting today.
Okay,
I
just
go
starting.
directly from
Okay.
here to the first sales presentation at 1:30 this afternoon.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
Okay, so if people want to go to a sales presentation,
HamiltonGrand.ca. They
Okay.
just go to our website and register for the next one, which is 2 weeks from now.
Okay, gotcha. Well,
Actually, I'm in Vancouver next weekend making a presentation on it. It's just by groups. We don't have a fancy sales office.
okay,
It's all investment.
right,
Some of our people will never go there,
right.
but that's okay
Right,
because
okay.
the numbers work.
Yeah. Okay. The number and the so that's just starting now. The Stinson School lofts. Those are 80% sold already.
Yes, we started that actually 3 years ago, so it'll be finished next March. So it's very close to actual reality.
Right.
And that is an amazing building. There isn't a single suite that's identical.
Yeah.
It drives the
It
bankers
looks
crazy.
awesome. I'm telling you, I was looking at a bunch of pictures last night. I started thinking I should move to Hamilton.
We've already done film shoots in there because the film companies just love the decor.
Yeah, it's
It has-
gorgeous.
and it's 1/3 the price of something in Toronto.
Incredible. Now, what about the Hotel Niagara?
This is something quite interesting for me. Now, I've always done historic renovations. That's been my specialty. My
Okay.
niche is restoring historic type of buildings.
Okay.
And in the United States, there is a reverence for historic buildings that we don't have here. It is financially worthwhile to restore a building in the States. There are tax credits and loans and grants.
Oh, okay, right.
I'm actually financing more than half of the restoration of this hotel through government-sponsored financing.
Wow. That's
Through
pretty
tax
neat.
credits, through loans, through grants, through
How
job
old is the
creation
building?
projects. 1924.
Okay.
It's a wonderful, I mean, it's right on the edge of Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you cannot find, if you're going to put a hotel somewhere, we have the 5th most popular tourist destination in the world right in front of us.
Right.
We have a casino beside us. We have a convention center behind us. We have a college across the street.
Yes.
We have the border bridge about 100 yards away.
Right.
It seems a reasonably good place to put a hotel.
Right.
Which
And
someone did
we're
in
looking at some
1924.
pictures here that this, I mean, this, it looks like a pretty incredible
Oh, it
place.
is, and it's a historic landmark. So because it's on the U.S. National Registry of Historic Places, we qualified for, it'll total about $13 million in grants and loans.
And are these for sale yet?
No, we're not selling them.
You're not.
Because of the financing options, I can actually keep this hotel and run it as a
okay.
hotel.
Oh,
Because it is a hotel.
right.
Highest and best use of this building is as a function facility. And it was the social heart of Niagara Falls for years. Now, what people can do, is we do offer an investment program. It's an 18% mortgage. They become partners in the building with me, essentially,
Okay.
and they earn 18%.
Wow.
Because if you look at the numbers, and I can't do it in the course
Right.
of a little program here
Right.
clearly, but the reality is most of my financing is essentially no-cost government financing. I bought this building at a foreclosure auction for very little.
Yes.
So the debt on it is nominal. So I simply take the balance, syndicate it, and they become my partners in the building, in the operation of the building.
Right. So, and is there a website for?
No, it's not. Again,
Okay.
just go to the stinsonschool.com website.
Okay.
I mean, that's the nice thing about having a project on Stinson School and Stinson Street and everything. If they put in Stinson, I'm going to show up.
That's right.
on
right.
the internet.
So if they go to that website, and if they attend one of your presentations, you talk about all the different options?
We narrow it down and speak directly with people on it. So this is part of what actually we're doing this afternoon. They have the option of the purchase of real estate, which is the Hamilton Grand, or the straight hotel investment. One provides a fixed return, which is the Hotel Niagara. 18% is 18%.
What's
Whether
the
it's
minimum
10,000,
investment?
10 grand.
10 grand.
See, there your threshold is so low that it's easy to be part of it.
Yeah.
So if you want a fixed return and a modest investment, the hotel is perfect.
Well, it sounds really great. So
If you want an affordable
yeah.
condo, it's the Hamilton Grand.
right. Well, save one of those the school the school loss for me. I better get moving on that one, right? Because,
Actually, that's true.
It's 80% sold. So
We're not in
and
the
prices are going to go up too when they.
That's exactly what happened.
When do you think they'll close?
March.
March.
But if you look at the historic pattern of the candy factory, the people who bought into that vision at the beginning, when it was a bit of a leap of faith, those units tripled.
Yeah.
Way ahead of what the Toronto market has,
Right.
and they have not softened at all.
Right, and I heard that the whole area of the school lofts is like now people are
It's the
restoring their
coattails.
multiplexes
Absolutely.
back to single family dwellings.
When you see the realtors now advertising located near Stinson School, You know, it becomes that catalyst in the same way that the candy factory was. So many of the people who bought into the Stinson School have bought in specifically because they're familiar with what happened at the candy factory.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so you've heard it right here on Keeping It Real, people. Stinsonschool.com. Find out more about these incredible opportunities. Harry, thank you so much for
having me.
For being here today. Really appreciate it. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk with Gene Meandro. He's got his infrared gun. This is the same sort of gun that the guys from what's that show? You know, is this the same sort of gun, Gene? You know where they go with the blood show? I can't remember the guy's name, but that's not his business. He's a home inspector, and commercial and residential home inspector. So we're going to find out why you need to deal with a home inspector who's got the latest technology and the kind of experience that Gene Meandro has. So hang in there. We'll be back in just a minute after this break.